Hello and welcome to Fire in the Belly. Today's boardroom talk is, again, the mic is being turned on me and we're getting to talk about myself, which is always a pleasure. And Heather Lundy is in the hot seat. So, well, the reverse, she's in the asking seat. So good morning, Heather.
Good afternoon, Pete. How are you?
Perfect. Good. I don't even know whether it's morning, noon or night. So it's good start.
We've just about hit the afternoon. It's really good to be here. I wanted to talk to you today about your new book.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
But first of all, many people might know, but if you just give us a wee introduction, who you are, what you do, where do you come from?
Yeah, how deep down the rabbit hole do you want to go in this short time? Who am I? I'm officially known as Pete Launton, or Mighty Pete is my brand. What do I do? I am a author, a podcaster, a mentor, a property investor, and father, husband, and many other things. That's what I do as such, and just based in Northern Ireland. That's me.
That's you in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, and it's on a physical level, I should say, not on a conscious level or a subconscious level, but that's a different story.
That's a different story. Well, we'll see how far we get into it. So, congratulations on becoming an author. Love to hear a bit about the book and about your part on the book. What's it about?
What's it about? So the book is called BeLife or BeLief. And it's really evolved from the principal concept was around empowerment. That was where it all sort of started from. And the concept of the book is essentially it's transformation. So how people have come through particular different journeys in their life and different places, and how through change, through a process, through a number of things that they've actually changed their lives, and they've transformed their lives, empowered themselves to take control, and basically have used those situations or things that's happened in their lives to take them to a point that where they are today. And that's typically that to me is also what success is. It's not, success can be financial, it can be mental, it's the fact you're alive today, it could be any number of reasons. And that's what it is. So when you empower yourself, you believe in yourself, hence where the belief, and belief can be negative or positive. So the reason to say that, you can have negative beliefs, you can have positive beliefs, you can have beliefs that you've carried forward. So they're basically historical experiences that you carry forward. And this is where, the past can affect your future because that's what you believe, but that may or may not be true. So the point and title of the book is to be life. When life is coming at you and you choose to decide how you want to actually take that on, is you choose to decide whether it's positive experience, whether to nurture the opportunity to go forward, see it as that you want to transform yourself, or do you want to live on your old beliefs, your old lies, your old past history, which may or may not have served you. So it's transformation, it's control, it's there's a lot going on, but it's to help. It's a bit of a warts and all story from 20 odd authors all coming together, and it's quite hard in the sleeve. So it's giving people a chance to say, listen, we are where we are, and we've been through this, and sometimes by speaking very frankly and openly like that, it helps to resonate with people and saying, I understand that, and helps people to hold up a mirror to themselves. In this day and age of sort of social perfection, where Facebook, social media, etc., we choose and algorithms choose to show us the best light, and unfortunately that's like appearing with a gold medal, but we don't understand where that's come from and how it is. But when you see someone's story, you understand their passions, you understand their whys and why it means so much. So that's a very long answer, but that's kind of what the book is about, is to help people and to resonate with people that actually, no matter where you are, you have an opportunity, you have a choice. The choice is to be life and to step away from your old beliefs.
It's a very, very, very good explanation, really, of what the book is about. Who will the book be for? Who do you see as the reader?
The book is for people who take a decision and make a choice. It's always, I always find it interesting, there's you're going to get different people that will pick up the book. You'll get friends and family who will do it to support, You'll get those who stumble across it. But I think you're going to get people who, there's a lot of people say, listen, if my story can help one person, and that's a key thing. But the story is for whoever actually takes the action, makes the decision and the choice and picks it up. It's for them. And really, I think when you see a collection of 20 empowered people who have massively changed, who have come through an experience, and are on the other side, and not in a sort of an aloof, I've changed and look at me. Very much more a case of look at, this is what I've come through, this is what I've learned, and this is what I, but very much holding out a hand to say, listen, I can help you come across this gap. My story hopefully will make it more, will lay a path for you, and make you realize that gap can be closed. That's not an insurmountable thing. I've been through it. And in the most loving and caring way, it's saying, if I can do it, I hope you can too. And by laying my story out, I hope that gives you the power, that empowers you to believe in yourself in a positive way and choose to actually just come forward. So the book is for the person that takes the decision to pick it up and read it. And, anyone that chooses to actually to nurture it and to, really read it for what it's saying. I think that's who it's for. And that's why it's empowering. And listen, I would love everyone to pick it up, but realistically, it's going to, there's certain people it's going to really stand out for, and it will change your life if you choose to actually do it. So that's who it's for.
Oh, it's beautiful. Very good. Beautiful intention for it. Can you tell us a wee bit about your part in the book, or the story that you've told or wanted to tell?
Sure. It's interesting. So my title, or my chapter, is called Finding the Flame, and it resonates back to fire in the belly, to a number of things, and the flame is a sort of an ongoing theme for me. The principle being that actually I believe we've all been born with a flame, a sort of a fire in our belly per se. And I believe to be alive means you have that fire. Now that fire could be a roaring inferno. It could be a tiny pilot light way off in the distance. So I think even somebody who's on the brink of suicide to the person who is living their fullest potential, I believe we all have a flame. Now, the question is to what level and to what degree. When we talk about, flame, the common things that would be pushed in with it would be, burning desire or potential. There's so many things there. And my sort of hypothesis is really that, you have to find your flame, your why, your burning desire, your passion, your belief. And when you find that, and that's something that you truly believe in, at that point, you get it, that almost that is kind of, that's what I was put here for, regardless of your spirituality or religion, whatever, that is almost your point of least friction. So it's the point that actually you find what resonates for you. What's your key thing? Now, for someone that might be, it could be anything. It could be being an author. It could be that speaking on stage. It could be helping people, sort of to not commit suicide. It can be anything, but when you find that, I think naturally you take on energy, your flame gets bigger, that actually the more people you speak to, the more people you help, that actually, it fans your flame, and it, it's your why. And again, you see people that are passionate and love what they do. And for that very reason, they are passionate about what they do. And I got to a point in my life, and for me, it was 37.5 years, where the gap was at its widest between who I truly was and where I was in my life. And that gap, and it's like a fishing rod or something. The bigger the gap, the less unstable you are. And for that very reason, I think it's very common that people do sort of, you see the searching and people saying, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what my values are. I don't know what my intention is, because they're so far away from them true selves. They're trying to impress parents, partners, bosses, co-workers, everyone around them, and this, but so much time and energy goes into running this script of who everyone thinks you are, that actually it's exhausting. you're so far, and it's not even intentional. It's just because that's the way your value set has changed. That's, again, your parents want you to be the best you can be, and unintentionally they've maybe put things upon you, and teachers have said you're good at this, and friends say you're good at that, and all the rest. And you get recognition. If there's something you're particularly good at that actually it serves other people, then you get a lot of praise for that, and that's great. But then you go, well, but that's not really what I want to do. And until you close that gap, until you find your flame, not somebody else's, it is possible. We all love to hear inspirational people, and we can't help but take on some of their energy as they speak. Because that's how, when you have that flame or that passion or whatever it is, it radiates energy. But until you find your own flame, till you find your own meaning and why, and it's so deceptive because it is inside you already. I believe that. I believe you're born with it, and it stays with you to the day you die. And whether you choose to actually empower it, whether you choose to do something about it, or you go through. And I always find it fascinating because people use the words a lot, which is something I try and stop doing. And people say, well, I don't know. It's like I don't know what I want. Okay, but when you listen to them, they'll go through. So what I'm trying to do here is help people to sort of unravel that a little bit and understand, well, maybe just ask yourself maybe what I don't want to do. Sometimes that's easier. Generally we're quite pain driven as humans. So we typically, pain sort of means a lot more to us. It seems to have a stronger meaning. So ask yourself what I don't want to do, saying, well, I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. Well, by the process of elimination and sheer ratios, if you keep not doing the things you don't want to do, then ultimately you're going to find and be at a place where you find the things you do want to do. So that can be useful, because if you say to someone, well, what do you want to do? It's like, I don't know. Okay. Well, maybe you do, maybe you don't, who knows? But actually, if it's picking a Chinese or deciding what takeaway you're going to have in the evening or going out for a dinner, well, if you take all the other meanings aside and then you process for elimination of saying, well, what means the most to you, and you go through it until you eventually you find that you do know. You maybe just didn't necessarily want to address it or go through. So that's the thing, is finding your flame. And when because it multiplies the energy. It's a point of least friction. It's what I would call almost like a guilty pleasure. People going, oh my God, I can do this and I can get paid. Wow. It's like, I kind of feel like I'm just playing here. It's like fun. And you do it. You listen to super successful people and things like that. And they're almost going, it's amazing. I have the best life. I do what I love to do and I get paid. I'm well rewarded for what I do, and I talk to amazing people, and I do this and I do that and I serve, and how lucky am I? Yeah. And you kind of go, wow, that sounds, just as you explain it sounds awesome. And you kind of go, why that? Because they are, what they really want to do and what they're doing is one and the same. And the closer you can come to that you find your flame, your passion, your energy, your purpose, your point, your why, your North Star, your golden thread, whatever way you choose to look at it, well, then suddenly, life is easy. You're not holding the baggage of the past. You're not sort of trying to be someone that you're potentially not. You're not trying to impress somebody else, including yourself. You could be impressing yourself and saying, well, it's a good friend of mine, Alan Wallace, he talks about, you can't take likes to the bank, and I think it's such a great way of looking at it, social media there. And I put up a post, I get loads of likes and you get a little endorphin hit, but there's nothing you can do with that, and it means nothing either. So it's understanding that actually the things you're doing, it means so much to you and it correlates to your values that you can stand in isolation and be proud of you. You don't need external a mirror. You don't need anything else to turn around and say to you that, you're worth it or this was really good. Deep down that I'm proud of me. I'm really happy I've done this. I really enjoyed doing this. I feel like I've given back. I feel like I've done my best. At that point, it's a moment of calm, and people see, it's almost, a massive roaring flame can be, seen as aggressive or, very pushy or whatever, but actually it's a calmness that actually you are just exactly where you're supposed to be. And, and you naturally you'll radiate that energy and people will pick it up, and they just, that they're naturally drawn to you. It's magnetic. It's, you're polarizing in your life because you don't have different charges in your life. You don't have a negative and a positive. I love to do this, but God, I don't want to speak about that, or, I'm embarrassed about my future, but I really want to be here. And, so you're always sort of trying to, sort of almost play these, it's the Jekyll and Hyde. It's, this is the real me, but this is my front me. And this is, and you see yourself at times, whether it be in an argument or a moment of passion or something else, that you actually are just who you are who you are. You hold, no other reasons or why, but you find that, and you're in a beautiful place. That's the key thing. And I'm on the journey. I'm not there, but every day I sort of lean in and find out what I love to do and find my flame and my purpose and my why. And I'm slowly sort of crawling my way along. I'm a bit of a slow learner, but I'm getting there, but key thing is I'm taking action. That's a very key thing.
Yeah. Very good. Wow. There's so much in that. I mean, just in terms of finding the flame, the moment of calm. I mean, there's such a, you said it there yourself, that idea that, a fire and all of the desire, but also the burning, but actually for you it is that real moment of calm. And how, in terms of the writing process, how did you find that, the creative writing process?
How did I find it? Let's be as open and honest as this as possible. So when I first spoke to Donna,
yeah,
I threw out my Donna Kennedy. Sorry, yes, 6-time best-selling author. I think it's actually 7-time best-selling author now. But wow. I threw out my labels straight away in terms of dyslexic and ADHD. So they're the sort of the labels that have been applied to me. Listen, and different people have different views on that, but that's kind of mentally that's the position I'm finding a useful space for me right now.
Okay, good.
What I've found is so the dyslexia, and the best way I could describe dyslexia to anyone, potentially in the way it was described to me, is it's not that you can't read or write. It's just that you think at a different speed, and you think and you process at a different speed to which you can physically read words or write down the words. So for me, if I'm physically writing, you're going to get a lot of jumbled up words that don't make sense. I can read it and it makes total sense to me, but doesn't to anyone else. I'll have a lot of half-finished sentences. I'll get frustrated, and simply because it's different processing speeds. However, what I have learned is I've no problem using the big hole in the front of my face, which is my mouth. So I can talk, and when I get into talk, I can talk at the speed at which I think. In fact, I can probably talk faster than I think, which actually means you get into the true self. So you don't have time to consciously necessarily think what you're going to say. You just say what you think. So I would call that flow, and I personally, I think it's a beautiful place to be in, because it's the real person that's communicating. So I did just that. I basically went through, this amazing tools in Word. So there's dictation. My kind wife very kindly, I sort of blurted out a flow of stuff. And she typed as furiously and fast as she could, and going through that process. But, I would be very, I just had a creative process or a creative section, and I'll go into flow, but then I'll snap out of flow. And unless I immerse myself correctly or sort of put myself back into it, I'll sit there. So I would describe the process as very lumpy. So I did a bit, and then I would go away and I'd come back and go, well, that's not very good. Not do this and do this. And it's similar to, I think you'd mentioned when you're talking about your own process, where it actually had to be taken off me. So I was kind of getting the update emails going, can you send me? Just a reminder to send me. Can you send me? And I was like, eventually it's like, have it. It's like, I'm done looking at it. Just take it away from me, because it's it's a pile of crap, and I don't want this, and da. And she came back and she's like going, it's actually quite good. In fact, it's more than good. It's actually very good.
That's
and I was like,
interesting.
yeah, okay. So it's taken me a while to sort of accept that, but yeah. So I think it's been interesting because you almost don't always know what I know, and sort of when you get into that conscious flow, that's some of the stuff I don't even recognize, which I know might sound a little bit weird. When I read it back, I'm kind of go, "Oh, that's really good. I like that," But it's
Did I
more.
write that?
It's more like a viewer point of view. I read it back and go, "That's a really good point." It's like, "Oh, I wrote that. Oh, right, cool." It's like, which I know might sound almost a bit vain. It's not. It's just in terms of letting my sort of true self come out to play. So that's what I found fascinating. I've loved the process. It's triggered so much more. Yeah, so it's been insightful. It's been fun.
Yeah.
I hope it helps people. I try and ask as many questions as I can because it's more a case of it's more important that the way you hear it than it is, what I tell you, if that makes sense. I'm trying to inspire people to ask questions of themselves, to paint the picture in their head. It's not so much about an experience I maybe had. It's kind of asked, if you ask that question, then they can run it and process it the way they might think about it. And sort of the key principles that have stood out for me. So it's not for me so much a journey of, it isn't about where I've gone through, but I think it's almost a point of going, you deserve it. You have the flames in you. That flame is in you. And like I say, you could be, on the brink of suicide, you could be top of your game, but the flame's in you. That's the first thing. And it's so, I find it so satisfying to know that actually it's not, people saying, do I have potential? You have. The question is, how much are you actually using it? And what are you doing with it? That's the question. It's not a case of it's already within you, so knowing that for some people can be enough, saying, well, actually, okay. And then you get to the question of, well, what if? And sort of admitting that I don't know is such it's a beautiful, disempowering question that allows you to be open to the what if. And if you follow that process, which is a whole deep subject, but what if is beautiful. What if I chose to find out my passion? What if I just did everything that brought me love and joy, in the sort of the whole KonMari and Marie Kondo aspect. What brings you love and joy in your life?
Joy, yeah.
Yeah, what sparks joy? What sparks sort of passion and serenity and quietness within you? And it's different. It could be, and it may well result in you changing all your values, just because daddy did this or mommy did that, or, my brother or sister or mother, whoever, just because they did it doesn't mean it's right or wrong for you, but if it sparks joy and it's something you're meant to do, well, do you think that somebody that loves doing what they do and they happen to be very good at it and they continue to apply pressure and they continue to take action in that field, they're naturally going to take on energy and they're actually going to rise through that position, so it's a beautiful place to be, but it's having the strength to decide to listen to yourself, to find that flame, to believe in yourself, because it's hard. The life is a hamster wheel, and whether it be a pandemic, whether it be a heart attack, whether it be something that, when the gap is so big between who you are today and who you truly are, that actually it takes a lot to snap that, and a lot of people will, sorry, it doesn't take a lot to snap it. It takes a lot to actually decide to close the gap. And that is, for some people that could be a breakdown. That could be, we talk about a midlife crisis. I like to see it as a midlife opportunity. It's like, well, how snapping that gap shut could be such an opportunity. It could be so empowering, so powerful in so many ways. So it's, if I can encourage people to do that, I think it's, and don't worry. I mean, you what's your why? What's your fire in your belly? Who knows and who cares? But if you kind of keep doing things that actually you love to do, you genuinely love to do, and it's, you got to look at your reasons and your ego and saying, why am I doing this? Am I doing this for the likes? Am I doing this because I love to do it? If nobody knew I'd done it, would it mean the same? If nobody knew that I had spoken to something, or I kind of find it funny sometimes people give to charity and then tell everyone they give them to charity, and you're like, okay, it's neither right nor wrong, but can you give, without acknowledgement? And it's almost, and talked a bit about it before, but it's a bit like forgiving and forgetting. You can forgive someone, but if you don't forget, or let it go, and you sort of use that sort of, well, I forgave you, that's like a weapon. You're re-energizing that. So it's like, you forgave me, but you're gonna make me pay the rest of my life. So is that forgiveness? Doesn't sound like it, but you're forgiving and forgetting and moving on. That was then, it happened, it's gone. Rather than sort of applying the old belief, the old accusation, saying, yeah, I did this and I'm a big person because I forgave them for what they did and all the rest, But okay, so you've just rehashed that you're a good person, you stood on the higher moral ground, that you're above them, that you've lorded down on them, and that you've forgiven them because you're a better person. Okay, you just position yourself. Whereas if you say it happened, it was an event, there was different reasons, and life moves on. You that's forgetting. It's not that you forget the event per se, but you forget to, to carry all the animosity and the potential negative or different energy that goes with, but then suddenly you kind of go, well, if I'm calm about that I let go of the stuff, letting go, it's kind of can be quite spiritual, and people go, just let go. It's like, well, how can I let go? I'm never going to forget. And it's like, you probably won't, but if you can take the energy away from it and saying it happened, it's in the past. The past is nothing but a memory. We can change the past through a number of things, but so I'm going into complete rant. But
you see in terms of finding the flame, so in your chapter, and from what you were saying there, you're going to take, and you were saying like it's still a process and you're still on the journey. Do you think it's a once in a lifetime thing that people do, finding their flame, or is it something that is ongoing?
I think it's ongoing, but it can change. I think that's the thing. So I think the answer is it depends, and it can change through time, because believe me, we all go through a lifetime of beliefs. You might find yourself doing something and you think, I'm doing it, and this is my why, and this is what I want to do. But then you ask them their goals and their intention, and then potentially it's going to go, well, I suppose for me, because I'm a property investor by trade, so I want this amount of property. Okay, so when you get that, how's it going to feel? It's going to feel great. And it's kind of going, okay, what are you going to do then? It's like, well, I don't know. I'm going to enjoy it, right? You kind of go, but why? You go, okay, that's interesting. So you kind of go, is it my ego, or is it something else that wanted just to know that I could say, I reached this goal and that's it? Or what is it I'm going to do? So now I suppose I've trying to evolve that on and saying, well, what's that going to do? And saying, well, actually, that's going to make my life quite comfortable. That's going to give me the opportunity to be, sort of be well connected with my family, that actually we can have less stress in our lives, so we can, we can live and we can, explore opportunities, that we can spend time together, that, we're going to be able to do stuff we never have. Well, that's a better reason why than just, understanding that the goal is what it is, because we have financial goals, but you go, but why? It's like, well, because I want lots of money. But why? I mean, money is just, we've talked about this before, money's just paper and metal and whatever else. But all it can take is a split second of finding your flame, your passion, something that just going, and I talk about the love language, when someone goes, oh, I'd love to do that, but, and then 50 reasons why, and so when you explore, your love language and the actions that brings out your love language, I'd love to do this, and I would hate, I would do it for nothing, and wouldn't it be great? You get all the positive energy goes with it. So there's so much there that's understanding, I suppose, and that's really what I do professionally, is helping people to find their flame, find their passion, their fire in their belly. And then if you attach a mechanism of how that can happen for people, you sort of merge those two worlds, then suddenly you're going, I love it. And it's not a question of how. It's a question of, what do we need to do next? What are we doing? How do we make it happen? And pushing forward and forward and forward. So that's the bit where you can help people to unleash their potential, and not do it in a preconceived way. Because if you just focus on the how, then your old beliefs come into play. Well, how would I do that? Well, the old me, I don't know, or I couldn't do that, or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas you change it and you reframe it and saying, right, well, I know where I want to go to. Well, okay, what if I tried this? Or what if I say, I don't know? Okay, so if I tell someone else my goal, then maybe they might know, or maybe they could inform me, rather than me assuming that the past will happen again because that's the past, and that, but it has, if you choose it, there's no connection to the future between the past, but you have to make that choice. You have to say, well, I don't know. And what if I tried something different? What if I spoke to somebody? What if I shared my goal? What if I sort of asked somebody the question and stayed open on it and not sort of reapply my old beliefs? What if I did that? And what if I became clear and started saying to people, that actually doesn't really work for me. It doesn't bring me joy. And I know that's what I used to do, and that's cool. And I'm grateful for it, but actually that's the past. So, but what I really love to do is this, and if somebody can start to actually bring that into their lives, I think it's going to be super powerful. But you got to believe in you. You got to commit to yourself. You got to, really sort of try and make that happen. And it's not going to happen immediately. It does take time, but just that sense of knowing that actually, if I keep pushing on this hard enough, eventually the wall will move, the tree will fall, the stuff will start to happen. For some people it's really quick. For some people it's really slow. I mean, I would classify myself as, in a fun way, is like a bit of a slow learner. But I've so many preconceived beliefs and so many things to get over. I mean, I need to hear things a lot, but I'm actually enjoying it too. But how you can do it, and it's
those lies and the beliefs really resonate for you.
Absolutely.
Or had done until you found your freedom.
37 and a half years of just, my beliefs, expectations, societal beliefs, parental beliefs, educational beliefs, academic beliefs, corporate beliefs, everything else. And again, trying to please other people. If I pleased other people, then they gave me praise or energy back. And then that was my recognition. No different to how you would train a dog. A dog does a behavior, you scold it or you reward it. If it does a certain thing, you give it a treat. If you keep doing that, eventually it will do it whether it gets a treat or not, because that's a behavior, that's a pattern, that's a belief. If I sit down, I get rewarded. If I do this, I get rewarded. Humans are no different. People love structure, and that's the thing. If that's the thing, if I get this amount of sleep, if this happens, then this is a good thing. Until you eventually go, well, what if this is not a good thing? What if what I'm doing is not positive or useful or serving me? What if that's not moving me towards what I really love to do? And a great question you can ask yourself is saying, if time and money were no object, what would you be doing? And people, it takes a while to process that. Saying you got green traffic lights all the way and you had the money that you needed, what would you be doing? And this is why a bucket list is so useful.
I could just imagine that. Yeah, that pause all of a sudden. Yeah.
And it's, what if? What if? And that's the thing. If you can then apply, so saying, I'd love to do this, this, and this, then the but comes, but 50 reasons why and excuses and all the rest. But if you can start to melt that down and saying, well, if the why is big enough, then the how will happen. And all you need to do is sort of put the structures in place to start to move. And it can be as simple as admitting it to yourself, or planting a seed, or making a phone call. It can be the tiniest little thing, but actually you find your flame. That's kind of going, that's something there. And it might be different. Listen, it may well change tomorrow and adjust and all the rest, but despite all the odds, if you keep going, and then, that's something that means a lot to you, and that's something you'd really desire to do, and you keep going and keep going and keep going, eventually the universe will change, things will happen, it will go on. And nature knows this. Nature knows only too well. I mean, it's, you see moments of sort of unbelievable determination in nature and the way trees grow, the way plants and animals do what they do. But yet as humans, we ignore that and we change things all around us. But yeah, so it's find out what it really means to you, because humans are weird in that, dogs generally don't have a conscience. They don't feel guilt per se. The just different levels of imagination and consciousness and all the rest. But humans, then they trip up themselves, and they sort of hang on the things that happened in the past as a method of sort of predicting the future. And that can be not a positive thing.
Thank you, Pete. I want to ask you, how do you think this book fits into the world today?
It fits in how you choose it to fit in. You take all the authors, there's all a change. It's a transformation. It's a decision. It's a belief. So all of them have gone through something, and that's life. We all go through stuff every day. So I think it is what you choose it to be. We will see what you want to see. If you choose to see it as an opportunity to make a change in your life, then that's exactly what it is. If you choose it to be something to reaffirm your goals, it is that. If it is a choice to refocus your energy and give you a reason or permission, because we're all seeking permission. We won't give it to ourselves, but we'll give it to others. We will help others, but yet we won't help ourselves. So if you see this as an opportunity to give yourself permission, it is that. So it's everything and nothing at the same time. It's an empowerment tool if you choose it to be. It is exceptionally powerful if you choose it to be. And that's the point of the 20 odd stories, is to help people go on, I did it. And if I did it, you can do it. I believe in you. I'm choosing to be life. I'm choosing to step forward, look forward, and be that. And if that's what you I hope you do, and that would be my hope, that people will pick it up and see it as a transformation tool, a permission tool, a belief tool, an empowerment tool, finding your passion, finding your why. Then that's what I would love people to get. But I think anyone that buys it, it only works if you do something with it, and it only works if you choose to actually make a difference. And hopefully that is enough of a seed for people to go on. That's what I'm looking for right now. And I want more. I deserve more. I'm scratching my head going, what am I capable of? And that itch is enough. And that's the fuel. That's the fire in your belly, and saying, if you just keep scratching that itch, then things are going to happen. So I hope that's what I'd love people to take away. And it's the what if, and saying, I don't know, but I'm willing to go find out. And I'm willing to ask the question and live by the fact of saying, well, what if?
I have to keep muting this because I've had about 20 lorries just keep going down past. Okay. How does it feel to become an author?
Slightly out of body experience, to be quite honest. But at the same time, it sounds weird, but I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. It sounds so weird. It's like, yeah, but that was, and this is the thing. When you start to, I have so much coming up ahead for me, and in terms of where I'm going and things like that. And when things like that happen, it's like going, yeah, I know that. I can see so much ahead now because I'm quite a visual person anyway. And so when someone says, oh, you must be so grateful, it's like, listen, I am truly grateful. But like, this is step 1 of 10. This is step 1 of 100, and but that's not to take away from it because it's so significant. The next part cannot happen without this part. But it's also not saying this is neither the start nor the end. This is a part of the process, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful to be at this place. Could I have written this book without, the help of including yourself, Donna, yourself, really the people around me, the inspiration, the 140 odd fire in the belly interviews we've done, my relationship with my wife, my family, and all that. Could I done it without all that? No, because this has all come together because of all those connections and these things. 95% of everything we have and do in our lives is a replay or, from something else. In fact, it's probably more realistically, it's probably like 99% of everything in our lives. It's a repeat. It's somebody else's thought, idea, suggestion, opinion, whatever else it is. Neither good nor bad. But the last bit, the last sort of 1% or 5%, whichever you choose, is how you add all those sort of facts, statements, questions, opinions, beliefs, and how you decide to bring all that together and mix it up in the mixing bowl of life, and how you decide in what proportions to take it on and what you choose to present. So if you choose to present it as an opportunity, you choose to, set it up as a pulpit to pass on your message or to give your message, or you choose it as an opportunity to set up an opportunity for people to come back and be heard, or that's the difference. That's the special sauce for me. It's how you perceive and how you decide to take all those factors and mix it up in your life. So yeah, so becoming an author, it's pretty awesome. It really is. I think it'll be a process too. Realistically, the sort of the ADHD part of me is like going, yeah, okay, whatever, move on. And sort of really struggle with potentially sometimes negative belief, and that's being very open and honest. You kind of go, well, yeah, but this didn't happen, or but you didn't do this, or that could have happened, or but that's kind of the game I play with myself, and I'm getting better. Procrastination, inner critics, all those are sort of wonderful bedfellows that I play with every day. So going through, given the opportunity, I'd rewrite the book, but that's the thing. But I also appreciate that it's sometimes that actually it's accepting it and being grateful for it. It is where it is. And I know there's more. And for that, I'm grateful. So how does it feel? It feels right.
Great. I'm so glad. And I think there's something in being part of a collective book like this. You kind of you've so many people helping to promote it and helping to keeps it alive, doesn't it? It's very much part of a process.
It is. And funny, Donna had talked about something, and saying the number of people that have an idea of a book or start a book and never finish, it's astronomical. Everyone has at least one book in them, and it's again, it's kind of one of those throwaway sayings, but how many actually do?
Yeah.
And it's not just the book, it's the energy, it's the connection, it's the potential, there's so much more. And funny, I was thinking about this the other day, but it's a bit like a ripple in the pond. Once the book is printed and out there, it's like a ripple in the pond, but you can never not have published it. You can never have, you start that ripple and it's impossible to gain, to bring all the ripples back. They're gone. It's out there. It's the energy's past. You cannot, you could waste your entire life trying to collect it all back in again. It just can't be done.
No.
So that's the beautiful thing about life. And what if you make a decision, or you do that actually once the decision is made, then that is what goes out, and never can it come back again. You can certainly make a different ripple. You can make a bigger ripple or a smaller ripple. You can decide, but what is gone, and it can never come back. And that's okay. That's calm in itself, is saying, listen, that's okay. And getting the book out there. So I'm so proud of everyone. I mean, it's amazing to be around such, sort of beautiful people. I know some of the stories are it's raw, really raw. People have decided to share, yourself included, and that's stuff that, maybe 6, 12, 18 months, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years ago, you were kind of going, if you said to you then, it's like, right, you're going to put this in a book someday, you'd be like, yeah, right. As you sort of, using up boxes of tissues and so emotional. And so, it's been such a potentially a vulnerable point. But if you go back to that point of, from great overwhelm comes great change. And it's so true. If you choose to do that from that moment of overwhelm and kind of going, someone has this in for me, so many bad things have happened, how can this be? And you're questioning everything. You question your belief in your purpose and your why, everything you question. Well, then if you choose for it to be the start of something new, you choose for it to be the first day of the next day of your life, and you choose to go through all that. Well, how beautiful. I would love if this book was that moment of people saying, enough. I've had enough. I'm overwhelmed. I'm sick of it. So many false starts, so many sort of fad diets and ideas and missed opportunities and all the rest. I choose to forgive myself. I choose to accept that I am where I am. I'm supposed to be at this point in pain that actually is going to wake me up. And through reading this book or wherever you're at, that you decide that this is it, enough. And if someone took that away, I would be delighted.
Oh, I certainly hope so. I hope they do. Well, I suppose you may have covered it, but really what I was going to ask was, what message would you like people to take away? Is there anything you'd like to add?
A couple of things come to mind, I suppose, just simply that the flame's in you. So it's not a case of, do you have potential? You have. Everyone has potential. And an adage, and I keep using, is like, some people get up and take over the world, get off the sofa and take over the world, and some people get up and turn over the TV channel. It's like, what are you going to choose to do? So it does come down to that choice. And when we all start, listen, you're at a very sort of weak and vulnerable position. A seed is very, very vulnerable. It needs so many things to get started. You can scatter a seed to the wind and it might be a false start, or, doesn't know what's going on. But, if you just keep trying and just keep pushing on, and you don't mind doing it, because if you find something you're passionate about it, you deserve it. God knows life is short, really is short. And, what if you just decided to keep saying yes, something that you love to do. And an expression that came out recently is winners quit. And I thought that was great. Sometimes it appeals to more, because winners quit doing things that don't help them. Winners quit doing things that distract them. Winners quit doing things that other people want. Winners quit doing, sort of negative behavior. Winners quit sort of believing that their past controls their future. Winners quit, and that's the thing, because they are like a dog with a bone. And that was a potential alternative name for my title, my book, actually, or my chapter, sorry. In that, be like a dog with a bone. Just be bloody relentless. Your bone is your bone. Just enjoy it. Keep gnawing on it. People will say you're crazy. People will think all that. But actually, it's your life. It's your opportunity. It's your bone. You do with it what the hell you want. And, who cares? What if, if you were dead tomorrow, would you care? What does someone else think? Well, look at where it's got you so far. How's your life so far? Are you proud of yourself? Have you lived your best life? God forbid if you got a diagnosis tomorrow, would you be happy and saying, well, do you know what? Actually, I'm really proud of where I'm at so far. Or are you going to suddenly jump into action? You're suddenly going to feel remorse, regret, things I wish I had done. Living life with no regret. That's powerful in itself. It's a very hard thing to do. But so takeaway message is it's choice. It's your opportunity. I hope you use it to transform. I hope you take away understand the intent and the purpose of all the authors and all the speakers. I hope you find your flame, and if I can help in any way, I'm always there for people.
Thank you, Pete. Pete, where can people go to buy the book?
So any number of places. We're going to put the links below. It's currently available through the Donna Kennedy website, and we'll put the links there. So also on my own website. So it is fireinthebelly.net/BeLife or BeLief. And I'll put the links out there, but it's available now. Profits of up to the point of release are going to a fantastic charity, which is great. So it's the Kevin Bell Repatriation Trust, which is awesome. That's when people are at a very difficult and transforming point in their lives, and they need help. And that's what it's there for, to repatriate people back home for whatever reason. And I think that's beautiful. When someone needs help, it's amazing how people get together. So it's a very, very worthy trust. And it just goes to show that's the intention of the 20 odd people, that when the profits are given away like that, that sets a precedent as well. So it's beautiful to be part of it. So thank you.
And Pete, how can people get in touch with you?
Any number, all the usual social media channels. So I believe there's only one Mighty Pete out there. So from a branding point of view, that works pretty well. So Mighty Pete on Fire in the Belly. So fireinthebelly.net/podcast, fireinthebelly.net/YouTube, or my own website is mightypete.com. So it's all out there. So yeah, always up for a chat and a chin wagon. And like I say, I'm happy to help anyone that I can.
Thanks so much. Thank you, Pete.
Thank
you. And all the best for the book.
Thank you very much. Exciting times.
Very much so.